Hi everyone, James Phelan here. Today I'm here to tell you about my new series, The Last 13. Basically, it's 13 books, they're thrilling stories, and there's 13 characters involved. And it will count down from book 13 down to 1. The Last 13 is a series of books about the battle for the dream world. It's basically a good versus evil story where our 13 teens must battle against all kinds of forces all around the world. It's got thrills and spills, it's fast paced, it's got twists, it's got turns, and hopefully a few surprises. I really hope you enjoy The Last 13. Here's a little sneak peek at book 1 in The Last 13. This is from chapter 6. The sound of the explosion rang in Sam's ears. The blast sucked the air from the cabin and the helicopter's tail sheared completely off, leaving a gaping hole at the rear of the aircraft. That can't be good. The helicopter fell fast in a flat spin towards the ground. An incessant alarm wailed. Sam was being pressed against the cabin wall, the G-forces gluing him against it like a local show ride he'd once been on, where it had spun around so fast there was nothing he could do to get himself off the wall. "Hang on to something," Eva screamed. And you can read on in book number 1, titled 13, in The Last 13. My inspiration for writing The Last 13 began way back when I was in school and I read the BFG. That's a story by Roald Dahl where basically, well, it's about dreams. I won't ruin the story for you. But for me, so began an idea that one day I would love to tell a story about the dream world, so that hopefully readers will get the same excitement and thrills and spills that I got from that book. The Last 13 has taken me around 3 years to write, and that's 3 very busy years writing every day. And I know that might sound boring, but I assure you the outcome is nothing but. For me, it's been about 6 months of full-on research and planning and plotting, about 2 years of solid writing, and then about 6 months of editing with my editors. And in between all of that, there's lots of little research trips, lots of rewrites, lots of fixing up, and that's what it's all about. The writing of the stories comes quite naturally, and hopefully I sit down every day and it comes easily, but it's really getting the story right and making it as good as it can be that takes a lot of work. My favourite part of book 1 in The Last 13 is where we meet Sam and he's with his family. So it's really the origin component of the story, and it makes up the bulk of this first book. It's really taking this young character who lives an ordinary life and he soon learns that he's actually quite extraordinary. His dreams start to become true. Growing up, I had 3 favourite books. The first one was probably The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. I remember I used to have a little audiobook from Disney as a read-along book, and then I read the real thing. For me, that was a great piece of storytelling, very exciting, a lot of fun. The other 2 books was The Hobbit by J.R. Tolkien, which was a great adventure, and The Little Prince by Anton St. Hawksbury, which is probably one of my all-time favourite books, and it's certainly the book that I've given away the most. I must have bought at least 50 copies over the years. I recommend it very highly. I wanted to be a writer because I love reading, and for me that's where it started. So since I was a kid, from my parents reading to me actually picking up books, through to being a teenager and developing a love for thrilling fiction, reading every thriller I could get my hands on. That's where it all started, the bug and the passion for reading. From there, I enjoyed creative writing, and when I was about 20, I decided, okay, I'm going to see if I can make a career out of this. And I wrote my first book, and that was published when I was 25. And I've been writing ever since. My advice for aspiring writers is to read as much as you can. Read books that you love, and even books that you don't love so much. I've found over the years that I've learnt more from books that haven't really meant that much to me, but as I've read them, I've gone through them and thought, how could I make them better? What is it that doesn't work in those books? And likewise with the books that you really love, you think, What works? What's in this book that I really enjoy? For me, that's the best schooling in how to write. Once you read a lot and then you start writing, then it's all just about practice makes perfect, or at least close to it. I think kids and readers everywhere will love the series The Last 13 because it has something for everyone. Overall, it's a thrilling story. Over 13 books, there's twists and turns, there's surprises, there's excitement, a little bit of sadness, and a bit of humour. I think over the 13 books, you'll go on a ride with my characters that hopefully you won't forget. That's why I think most readers, if not hopefully all of them, will love this series.